Simplified Chaos, episode 167.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, your host, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? We hope you all are having an amazing week. We've got another great episode here for you today. Jilly, we're going against the grain again.
Indeed.
Yeah, per usual. What are we going to talk about this week?
I'm not sure what we want to call this yet, but it's all about experimenting often. I don't know.
Just experimentation.
Experimentation.
Yes.
Self-experimentation? I don't know.
We're going to keep on a cliffhanger here.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about experimentation in just a few moments. But before we dive into that, as always, we love to show a little gratitude before we get into our main topic. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
This week, I am so grateful for support. We were in Maryland visiting, staying with my mom and my aunt, and because my dad was in town, who flew in from Arizona and was staying right next door with my sister. And during our nice little stay, Lucille contracted.
I think she had already contracted it at this point, but
yes,
started
showing signs of hand, foot, and mouth as like what did they call it? A hoof? Like, oh god, we were just making jokes about what it could be called, and there was like hooves and all kinds of things. Anyway, it started off as like a rash on the side of her face, and I thought she was having an allergic reaction to something, and then the rash got worse and worse, and she started itching. And then I woke up and was just having like really weird issues digestively, and I was just like, Mom, I was like, is there any way you could take her to, the doctor, because like I'm just like not feeling good, and you had went to the office in Baltimore, so it was just like not good circumstances. And she was like, yeah. So I watched my sister's two kids, which my mom usually does, and my mom took Lucille to the doctor, and come to find out, she was diagnosed with hand, foot, and mouth, and the swelling was intense.
it was.
It was startling and terrifying, and
She didn't seem to mind it though.
No fever, just looked so differently.
She looked like she got punched in the face.
She did, and homegirl did not want to take medicine, and I was just like so scared, because looking at her face, I was like, oh my god, this looks so horrible. She doesn't want to take her medicine. I was like flipping out and just like sobbing, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to force her to do it. Like, I don't know how to get the medicine in her. And then my mom and my aunt were there, the creative geniuses. Let's sneak it in her lollipop. And popsicle, sorry, yes. Not lollipop. They're both on a stick. So they kind of helped get the creative juices thinking, because I was just not in my right mind. I was just so scared and not sure what to do. So yeah, they chopped up a popsicle, put some good old medicine in there, and that's how we've been helping Lucille get better, as well as like the virus just naturally leaving her body. But thank you, Mom, my aunt, like everyone who was like hands on deck, like just helping us with that, and plans were pivoting, and it was just a beautiful, chaotic weekend, and I'm just glad she's feeling better now.
It also helped that it was like 1,000 degrees outside, so it really wasn't that bad being indoors.
Yeah, we had a lot of screen time. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
I am grateful for buckets of rain. We got buckets of rain today, and that makes me very happy. Yeah, we live in like Death Valley of Virginia, because oftentimes it'll rain all around us and we don't get a single drop. Water's a little expensive down here. Like to keep the grass a little green. It's gotten a little crispy because we are in the middle of July, but today the heavens unloaded on us, and I think we probably got about an inch of rain in a matter of an hour. That makes me very happy. So I am grateful for the weather blessing us with some rain today.
Yeah, it was some pretty epic thunder. It was really cool.
Yeah, I was on a video call with some coworkers, and of course, the internet went out, so I jumped on and off the call about 3 times. Power went out, internet went out, came back on. But then there was like this, it got really dark, so I'm like in a dark room. It wasn't dark 5 minutes beforehand, and then all of a sudden there was like a lightning bolt literally within a mile of us, lit up the whole room, and my people on the call were like, was that lightning? And I think I heard it. So like it was crazy. So
Nice.
it was awesome. Love a good thunderstorm.
Me too.
Awesome. All right, Jilly. So we've been talking about, what to go against the grain next. And this one came up because I think a lot of the things in our life happen because we're not afraid of experimentation.
Yeah, I feel like within the past 2 years, we've done a lot of hardcore, let's try this out. Let's try this out. So it felt very, I don't know. I don't think it's very, I don't want to say quote unquote normal, but like mainstream to just like experiment with so many things just to find out what feels right for you. And I'm not sure where we want to start, but I mean, I have a list of like topics we can talk about. Is there one you want to start at?
No, because I'm probably gonna jump on with those two. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the good things happen that in our lives are because we're open and we're not afraid to experiment with different things or try things once. Lucille's show that she watches, or at least that she used to watch, Tots, and it was like always take a no thank you bite before you refuse food. And so it's like, okay, we're kind of dabbling in that when it comes to certain things, and I think it's opened us up for a lot more. It's opened us up for better relationships and new relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, go ahead and take it away, Jilly.
All right. So I feel like one thing that, I don't know, we've experimented a lot. I think more you than me, but like this has been the biggest experiment of my life is just not teaching anymore, switching careers. I don't even know what my career would be now, but I was a teacher for 12 years. And now I am a stay-at-home mom / photo editor / nanny, / whatever.
Teacher.
Well, yeah. And like homeschooling Lucille. So the roles have switched and my environment is so different than it was before. And it was so terrifying to leave what was comfortable and what I was used to. But man, it's been the best experiment of my life because it slowed my life down. I'm getting more time with you. I'm getting more time with Lucille. And it's leading to other opportunities for us to explore. So as far as careers, like that has been a huge, big experiment for me so far.
Yeah, and I know that you kind of allude to my career path being kind of an experiment because you held down one job for 12 years and I'd been in multiple jobs. Yeah. I would say like the biggest experiment that I had though is I was working with this one job and just something came out of the blue. It was, I wasn't looking for anything at that time, but it was a startup and the opportunity seemed great. And so I went and took it. Things did not go well. At that job, there was just not enough capital backing it up. And basically, the startup lasted all of 6 months. Was very stressed during that time. Lost a lot of bad weight. It wasn't great. Just wasn't eating and stuff like that. So it was just a really rough time. But hey, it's gotten to me, where I am today. I took on a lot of different things and kind of came back and has led me down the career path and I'm in a great spot right now. So, if it wasn't for that, I might not be where I'm at because, a lot of my jobs that I've gotten have not because I was seeking, it's because people have reached out to me.
Yeah, you've had 4 or 5 different jobs since we've been together?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and
4.
I was always a little envious just because I'm like, I think that's really cool how you get to experiment and, try different things. And here I was doing, each year is different with kids, but I was just kind of envious. Like you get to try, a new path. And here I am definitely trying a new path. Yeah. And I think you do a great job at learning from your experiences for sure. And figuring out how to pivot. And I think you're really great at remaining open too, which I think is important with experimenting. I don't know, not being set on a specific career and this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm good at. Like the job you're doing now involves writing, and you're a history major who was just probably never saw yourself writing.
No,
it's just crazy how it led to that.
Well, the whole history major thing was really something to get me through college because I was told I need to go to college. I need to get a degree. So, okay. Don't know what I want to do with my life.
And the
so
rest is history.
Damn, Jilly.
Oh,
That was actually pretty good. I don't even know if I have to say anything after that. I mean, I should just end on that. But yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, of course, back, 20 years ago, I didn't envision myself being in this spot. So, and then 20 years ago, I was in college. So, yeah, it's like no idea, but the different paths, that I've gone down have led me to where I am, and, couldn't be happier. And yeah, I took a job that was an absolutely horrible experience, but I experimented, found out what I didn't want to do and what kind of company startups are not for me. So, that's where I pivoted and took a couple other jobs, but now I'm at where I'm at.
I think that's the most important part about experimentation is like realizing what you don't want. Like those are big wake up calls and like aha moments. Like, well, this is going to help me.
Yeah.
In the future, decide what I want to, direct to. But yeah, cool. As far as experimentation, I have house.
House?
Yeah, just moving.
Yeah, you experimented. We decided to experiment and just move out of the state.
Just downsizing, moving to a different state, moving away from family and friends. That was a huge experiment in itself, and leaving everything comfortable.
It's an ongoing experiment.
And safe, yeah. But it's been the most beautiful experiment, and we learned a lot of lessons living in a very large house. And now that we are living in a smaller home in a different community, near the mountains, near a lot more nature around us, it's been a dream so far.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about today, like most people, when they move, it's usually to get something bigger. And we decided to experiment and do something and get a place that's smaller, more manageable for us, something that allows us more flexibility. If we're not going to be here for a week, it's not like I'm going to come back to a lawn that's, 50 feet high or anything like that. I mean, it was all very calculated, and it was an experiment. And we went into this always saying that, hey, we can move back to Maryland if we don't like it down here, but no, we're staying here. We like it a lot.
Are you gonna keep rubbing your thighs?
I don't know why I'm doing that.
It's just the noise the skin to skin contact makes.
The microphone.
I kind of read a blog post on reflections that I've had since downsizing, and you're right. A lot of families usually they upgrade to greater square footage, where we've upgraded to greater time and freedom, and it looks a little bit different. I think we've upgraded in a different capacity, and to each their own. Like everyone has their own values, what aligns their beliefs and what makes them happy and fulfilled and it's meaningful. But I kind of had this reflection that we may have went smaller in the square footage, but a lot of things have gotten bigger that we wanted to get bigger as far as like time together, more travel. Right. So it's been a glorious experiment that's still going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Schmandemic.
Oh, gosh. Hobbies, I put.
Ooh. You are dabbling into some hobbies.
Well, it's interesting, and I don't know if anyone else there can relate. When you work a full-time job, you're exhausted when you get home. And you probably are doing some mindless things. You might be cooking dinner, or you might be moving your body or going for a walk, or you might be watching TV or whatever. There's not time. I don't say there's not time, but I wasn't making time to explore things that I wanted to do for fun because I was just tired. So it's really interesting having more time together and time to myself since this whole move and career change. Now I have time to explore new hobbies. Like now I'm photo editing and I'm drawing more and I'm writing more poems, and I'm painting with Lucille. There's so many things that I've been dabbling in. It's been really fun to kind of rediscover who I am and I don't know, do exploration like kids do. I feel like we're meant to constantly be exploring, but along the way we get in this hamster wheel of just work, come home, go to sleep, work, come home, go to sleep. And it's so great to kind of reorganize our life and our days to make time for fun and for figuring out what do we want to try and do, biking more, hiking more. I mean, the list goes on of more things that I have that I would love to try. So it's really fun to experiment and just I don't know, do things just for the hell of it and the fun of it,
Right.
not for a specific purpose other than joy.
Yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of times where we're just like, we don't even plan to go hiking or anything like that. And it's just like, hey, you want to go XYZ? Like, fuck it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And it's all right, let's do it. So yeah, like, I think like for me, like this year has been like the year of the great experimentation. And that's mostly along the health front. And I've always been like, at least since you and I have started dating, like I've done quote unquote the healthy thing, and I've definitely kept maintaining my weight like the most during this relationship. Like when I was in my 20s, my weight was all over the place. Did a lot of drinking, got up to I think like 248 or whatever, but now I'm like been steady around 180, 185, and a lot of it has just been attributed to having a steady diet, still getting outside and doing those things. But like this year was just like my midlife crisis or something. I have no idea.
Midlife calling.
Midlife calling is what you're calling it. Most people know it as the midlife crisis. That's why
I know.
I'm using that language. But it's just like I just did this huge deep dive into like health, food, nutrition, all that stuff, and like it is an experimentation. Like when you change what is normal in your life and what you constantly do, it's an experiment. But you can always go back to that. So we've been leaning very heavily towards the carnivore side of things, and we've been kind of progressively getting our way there. And I feel so much better like doing these experimentations. I've been experimenting with walking during the day. Now I'm actually walking with no shirt on, trying to take as much sun in as possible, because there are tremendous benefits from the sun direct on the skin. So like I'm just kind of doing all these things and not giving a shit about if other people are judging me or anything like that.
And
I'm
it's
just
usually
like,
in our heads. It's
yeah,
like
it
they're
usually
not,
is. Like
yeah.
most people don't even give a shit. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm out of my head. I'm doing this because I value my health. I value my body. I just want to make sure that when I get older, it's not that I'm scared of dying or anything like that. If I die or when I die, that's fine. It's just like when I die, I don't want to ache. Like I don't want to have like those pains or anything like that, or say that I can't do anything. So like that's really like my biggest thing is like I just want to do something for my body so that I am just like every day my optimal self and not worrying about aches, pains, cracks, whatever.
Yeah.
So like it's just been a tremendous experiment that is now just reaping huge benefits and rewards.
Yeah, you've done a lot of wellness habit changes, which has been fun. Like you just in this month are experimenting with no coffee for 30 days, and my jaw's just dropping. I'm like, how are you doing this?
Well, now I'm just contemplating dropping it altogether.
Oh, well, I haven't heard this one, but
I know, just today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to hear more about that later. But yeah, you inspire me just to challenge myself more and to try more habit changes just to see, is this uplifting my life, or is this something that I thought was, but maybe I don't need it anymore. So I think it's always fun to like pivot certain habits just to see, was it adding to my life, or is this something that like wasn't really doing much? So, I commend you, and you inspire me to like just try new things, which I am because you're doing it. So I'm like eating a lot more organ meats, which I'm like, oh my God.
Never would have thought, right?
Beef heart is delicious, and liver is still not my favorite, but I eat it because I know it's got a lot of great stuff in it. And it's just fun to like, play with food and mix up things. And I think even when it comes to podcasts, like we've been experimenting with like the content we've been consuming just to mix it up from a variety of sources on just like, you're reading about sleep, you're listening to podcasts about food. I'm reading about like parenting and different techniques for like raising like wild kids. And it's fun that we're just kind of diving in all these different topics, whether it's like books, podcasts, trying to think of another way of consuming information. Yeah. So it's, I think you are, to me, you consume and like put it into action.
Yeah.
Like as soon as, and I love that because I think that's like the only way you can really figure out if it's going to work or not.
Yeah, and some of the other areas besides like no coffee this month, I've also been experimenting with cold showers in the morning, like just waking up and getting in the shower and just taking a cold shower. That has been awesome. Like I view it this way. I'm doing the hardest thing that I'm gonna have to do all day, first thing in the morning, and then everything else is downhill from there. And that's just like huge for your like mindset, your mentality, and whatnot. It's like, yeah, at first is like you have to like work yourself. I'll sit there in the shower and like contemplate, okay, do I go in now? Do I go in now? But like now I'm just like, I walk in and I'm like, all right, let's do this. Like, so it's like my mindset has become more resilient because of that. But I feel like at the beginning of the day, I am doing like the hardest thing that I have to do. So like that's just been a huge experiment in itself, and I'm looking to experiment on other things too when it comes to health. I have no issues trying to do things for a couple days, couple weeks to see if I notice any benefits or improvements, and if I do, I'll incorporate it in, and if I don't, then I'll try something different or go back to what I was doing.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think another thing we've been experimenting with is just the amount of travel we've been doing, just to see what it does for our life and how does it feel. Like, we've been traveling at least once a month, and that is kind of the reason for a lot of our pivots, is we wanted more time to just explore, and it feels really good. I wasn't sure if it was going to feel like too much time away from home, or how Lucille was going to react to all of the the moving around, but I think travel just adds so much value to our life, and like learning in life, like all the lessons you learn along the way of just traveling and getting somewhere, and the journey of it has been so amazing. And the one thing that I'm looking forward to experimenting, I can't believe I'm saying this, is camping. But I just finished this book, How to Raise a Wild Child, and I just want to find more fun in nature, and I think camping would be a really great way to show Lucille that I'm trying something new.
That's what's up, Jilly.
Yeah, but I need you to plan it. This is not something that I can like plan to do. That's the only thing. Like, the closest I'll get is like when I was talking to you in the car about renting a camper van and doing it that way, just because it's low maintenance. I don't have to buy a tent or all these things. Like, I want to do it, but the thought of like packing all this stuff is just like really overwhelming to me. So if I can find a vehicle literally to like help get that along and not bring a lot, then to me that sounds
it's a stepping stone.
Way cooler to me. But
yeah, for you in this situation, I don't know that we can fully immerse you into a camping situation where, and even Lucille to that extent, although I think she would find it fun. But yeah, for you, I think we have to take that stepping stone rather than just ripping the Band-Aid off and going all in camping with no facilities or anything like that. So yeah, we'll ease it into that one.
I appreciate that, and like hold me to this. Like, I need you to like get this in the books maybe next year. I know to do it like when it's not super hot, but I really want to experiment and do that, because it's something that I think would be. I don't even say. It's really for me. I really want to do it for Lucille more. Yeah, and I think once I do it for Lucille, I'm going to be like, this is actually really cool.
It's interesting to me. Like, you're the nature person. Like, yeah, and you are always wanting to be outside and in nature, touching trees and stuff like that. But like the thought of camping and like under the stars and stuff like that in a tent,
it's not like when you say under the stars, it sounds really amazing and romantic, but there's something about like, I really cherish my sleep, so I'm like, I really would like a mattress, and I would really like, I feel like I pee frequently, so I'm like, it'd be great not to have to pee by a tree, but I'll do what I gotta do. And there's like the mysteries of the outdoors when you're outside at night. I'm like, oh man, is there gonna be like a tick out? Like my thoughts wander. I know, I gotta get past it. Like, this is what happens. There's all those fears. I just gotta like do it and be like, that wasn't so bad, and I can do it again, and we'll get better at it.
We'll experiment with that, Jilly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm experimenting right now with friends.
Oh.
Like, because we moved, it's been like making friends as an adult has been one big experiment, and it's been glorious. I know there may be a lot of people out there like, making friends as an adult is hard, and I guess it can be, but I have to say, like, it's flowing pretty easily for me. And I don't know, I'm sure it's a combination of like this community, this town. Everyone's just really friendly here. There's a lot of moms seeking connection and like-minded individuals. And it's just been really, really cool and easy to connect to a few good people here already. And it's great to like feel like I have a tribe and to put myself out there and do that. And I'm that person that I'm like, go make friends as adults. It's really, really fun. Like,
well, and that is the experiment, is putting yourself out there. That's what holds a lot of people back from making friends with other, especially when you move to a new area. It's like, oh, people aren't going to like me, blah, blah, blah. We get in our heads, but like the true experiment is when if you're not somebody who's willing to put yourself out there, is to do that and then see what happens. And we've got some great friends down here because of that.
Yeah, get your weird on, put it
Yeah.
out there and attract
Yeah.
your tribe.
That's right.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. Like, be yourself, and you're going to attract the people who like you, and you don't have to worry about people, especially if you're in a new area. You don't have to worry about people not liking you, because F them, you don't know them.
That's true. And one thing I had on here, experimentation with just parenting. And the reason I say that is because when I was a teacher, when I first started teaching 12 years ago, it was like trying to find that was kind of where I first started experimenting, because, I'm working with kids. So AKA you're basically parenting. So I remember trying like the very authoritative styles, and like,
respect my authority.
yeah, pretty much like do as I say. If not, here are the consequences. Because I would like walk into classrooms and see that kind of model. I'm like, maybe I should do that. And I remember trying it, and it felt wrong and icky, and I hated it, and I would go home and cry. And then a little bit, I kind of found myself and my style and my relationship, and how that evolved with how I interacted with kids. And it's kind of evolved, and just from trying different things with kids. Like literally I was experimenting with my classroom all the time. So now I'm at this place where I just feel really good with the way we're parenting and just doing life with Lucille, and just like, we're co-adventures with her, and we're ebbing and flowing as she does. Mm-hmm. And she's one of us. Like, she's not below us, she's not above us. Like, we're all on equal grounds, and just learning all of the different types of parenting styles out there, and just trying to find which one feels good for us. And I feel like if I had to label, it's kind of like conscious parenting, simple parenting. We're kind of like in the middle. Probably very weird parenting sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, one of the biggest experiments that we're doing right now is food experiments with her, and making sure that she finishes her meal for dinner. Now, she doesn't have to finish it with us, but if she wants milk before she goes to bed, it's just like, oh, you know what? There's that little bit of beef chuck that you still didn't eat. And, sometimes it's a struggle. Like tonight in particular, she wanted milk while we were watching the movie. And I was like, well, before we do that, there's some dinner you still have to finish up. And yeah, there was some whining and stuff like that. But then it subsided, and about 15 minutes later, she's like, I think I'll have my meal now. And so like that has worked as far as like getting her to eat like things that
are nourishing,
yeah. But she finds that, she says that she likes them, but yeah. It's just at the time, it's just maybe not interested in eating dinner with us, which is totally fine. Like, that is cool, but like we are getting her to eat her meals, and that happened when we were on vacation too. Is like, we had this whole dinner, and sure as shit, before she went to bed, she like scarfed down the rest of that food. Like, so like it's worked out. It's been an experiment, and we're just happy that we're getting some good results out of it.
Yeah, like there's so much freedom on like how she eats it and when she eats it. Like, she'll eat it on her own terms in her own time, and that's cool. But the thing there's no negotiating is about like the types of food, because we're like, we need to get nourishing foods in you somehow. So we're going to hold you accountable for that. Like, take your time. That's cool. Walk away from it. It'll be here when, so that has been a glorious new ritual that has been working with Lucy, and I'm grateful for, because she's still a really happy kid. Mm-hmm. It's like, doesn't feel deprived. We still do our treats and things, and it's been really good to.
But it has eliminated some of the other foods that,
totally
aren't really great for her either, and she doesn't miss them. She doesn't ask for them, which is awesome.
Yeah, it has been one great experimentation. Totally.
Yeah, the biggest experiment.
Yeah,
our greatest experiment.
I think the last one that I have on here is just the way I move my body. In high school, I was big into running. I ran long distance a lot, and when I go to the gym, I would run on the treadmill forever. And I would do a little bit of like weight training and stuff like that. Even through college softball, I just did a lot of running. I would do weight training in college. And then I got really into HIIT, like 30-minute workouts. Yeah. And I was big into that and loved it. And then I was into yoga, and I would do yoga pretty consistently, and just to slow my body down, because it was just like go, go, go all the time. And yoga's been so restorative. And I still do yoga every now and then, but now I feel like I'm like a serial walker. I feel like I'm a professional walker. I just walk a lot, and I do planks here and there, and I do a lot of hang time, like when we're at the playground and monkey bars. So my movement exploration has been like all over the place, and it's been fun to dabble in a variety of different things just to change with the seasons based on what my body needs and what, how my day with Lucille flows on like what I can integrate in my life naturally. And sometimes it's playing tag and just play, and it's been really cool to like just kind of give myself grace on kind of the aesthetics of what I look like or what I think I need to look like, but just do what feels right for me, what my body needs. And I'm still exploring that. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get into next. Right. I mean, I did fracture my pinky toe now, so I'm very slow.
Yeah.
I can still do planks, and I can still
She's
do some
overdoing it,
stretches.
folks. We need to tell Jilly to slow down.
I love walking.
She does.
I'm about to put on my boot tomorrow and just walk my ass around the neighborhood.
There you go.
I'm just going to do it. But
And then your hips are going to hurt because it's going to be an awkward walk for you.
I know.
You just can't slow down. It's in your genes.
It's hard. It is hard to slow. And I feel like I've slowed down a lot from where I was like 4 years ago. So I'm getting better, and I am resting. I did a lot of resting today.
You did.
I did a lot of icing and a lot of Candyland sitting and playing. But yeah, I don't know about you, but like as far as movement, like.
Yeah, no, my biggest thing, I used to do the hit stuff for a while. Like, I was never really, I did lift weights. I was never really into it. But
you did racquetball, right?
I did racquetball for a little bit. That was actually a lot of fun. We would raise hell at the racquetball club in Severna Park. But yeah, I mean.
Oh, we both did slow pitch softball.
Yeah,
I guess
played
that counts.
softball. And so like now that we're down here, I haven't played softball at all. And I'm ready to just start lifting heavy shit. Yes. And so we're looking at potentially building a small gym in our garage. We have some space, or we can make some space in there for that. So that's kind of what we're sourcing. My brother has a home gym, and I've been asking him a lot about how to source these things without spending a fortune. And he gave me some good tips here. So like now it's just kind of all planning it out and getting it all set up. And I'm looking forward to that because it's a good thing.
Yeah.
To lift heavy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's all I have on my list. I don't know if you can think of anything else.
I mean, we're experimenting. We're always open to experimenting, trying new things and seeing if it brings some value into our life, some joy into our life. And so the whole idea is like, be open and don't be afraid to experiment.
Well, it's funny. The episode I did that aired last week was our interview with Milena, and the quote that she had at the very end was "Screw it, let's do it." And that's kind of how I feel about like when I try new things. Like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Screw it, let's do it. Like, why not? So yeah, if you guys haven't listened to that, it is such a good episode that I think everyone can resonate with who works a full-time job and just understands the hustle and grind that can come in life. And it's a good one. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Awesome. Maybe that's today's quote of the day too.
No,
I know.
It's not, but it would have been a good one. You're right.
That would be. All right. Well, how about we get into some resources then, Jilly?
Yeah, I found a blog post that was from Art of Manliness.
Oh, that website is awesome.
Is it?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
That's when I first learned about cold showers, and like the dude would do videos and everything. Like he is that website is fantastic.
Oh, well, that's good to know. When he had a blog post that's called "How to Treat Life Like an Experiment." I'm just going to read a little bit.
All
of
right.
it. Okay. See, I've got a thing for personal experiments. Self-science. In the past few years, I've done a week without clocks, a week with only one meal per day, a week of giving back to my network, and a stretch of a few months during which I recorded everything in my life that made me noticeably more happy or less happy. I've also kept track of more standard things at various times. How many push-ups I can do, how many carbs I'm eating, or how much money I'm spending. In short, I've tried to treat my life as an experiment, or rather, a series of short experiments. But whether it's measuring if clocks are a needless stressor or figuring out the best weekly push-up routine, all of this self-experimenting stuff boils down to a few simple steps. Number 1, think of a way in which you might live a better, happier life. Number 2, do that thing, at least for a short time. And number 3, reflect on what you learned and change your behavior accordingly. It's not rocket science. In fact, it would be a stretch to call it science at all, but it's based on the same basic principles: curiosity, a desire for improvement, and a humility towards finding the truth, wherever the search may lead. In the noisy commotion of the science media complex, sometimes the clearest voice is a simple one-man experiment, or one woman. Treating life like an experiment is about curiosity and attempting to live better, not quote-unquote proving beyond any shadow of a doubt that merits or demerits of any way of life. I'm just trying to figure out how I can get one step closer to better.
Yeah, that's well put.
I thought so.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, well, that's cool that's where you got the cold experiment.
Yeah.
That was the cold shower experiment we first did, like a year or two ago, right? Was that
Perhaps.
the one?
I mean, I just remember watching that a long time ago, and the dude was just like, "Yeah, the benefits of cold showers." So that was one of them. I think I saw that a long time ago, and then I watched it again when we did that one last year. But yeah, cold showers are awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
In the morning.
when I do them, they're pretty damn refreshing.
Hell yeah.
Agreed.
All right, Jilly, and your quote of the day.
Quote of the day is from Santosh Kalwar. Life is an experiment in which you may fail or succeed. Explore more, expect least.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And your take action challenge today is, Jilly?
Don't be afraid to experiment. Try new things. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah. Always hit us up on the Instagram, simplified.chaos. We always want to hear what you all are doing, what lessons you've learned, and we like to do these things together as a community, so definitely hit us up there. And that's going to do it for today's episode here, folks. And if you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation leads to action, and action's how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.